Big practice right now is trying to get a rhythm with this thing. So I'm going to try and keep this part short because it's just supposed to set the grounds for the discussion.
Okay.
And we'll see how it goes. So welcome to Adam's Friday Forum for Entrepreneurs, a program that we're put together to create networking during COVID, but I might hopefully continue it beyond this as a good practice of helping people connect and growing their businesses. So on the page, just so you know, we're recording.
Okay.
If there's a part that you don't want to record, just tell me and we'll cut that out when I post it on YouTube. Attendees may use on social media pages, all that good stuff. You can find it at sparksflow.com, which is my really simple page. And if you have any comments, you just throw them at me. Intro to norms. So this is how I'd like people to introduce themselves, because one of my big things for this is during this time, I found that the networking that's happening out there isn't really strong as far as like making connections. Mm-hmm. So I'd like you to introduce your name, if you're with a company, what the company is, and then what you do and for who. And then we'll type our business info in the chat. And I will show this by demonstration by escaping from this view and grabbing what I've done. And this is also a great thing I'm encouraging people to do, is to have their information prepared ahead of time, which I feel I am still working on that rhythm, so that they can just post it right in the comments. And I'm going to look into how to create a business card, a digital business card. So give me a moment while I focus on where I put this, because it's not as obvious as I hoped. Okay, John. All right. So John, since you're just one person, would you tell us about yourself real quick?
Right. So I live in Sacramento and I teach business at Sacramento City College and management at UC Davis. And I have a management and workforce training business. I don't do a whole lot of work in that area. I've been pretty busy with the teaching, but I am planning to ramp that up in this coming year. Yeah. And I'm also working with some UC Davis STEM students, and our goal is to develop the first safe, effective, environmentally friendly sunscreen.
Cool. Safe, effective, environmentally friendly sunscreen. I like it. That's cool. And then once you get that going, you can present it at 1 million cups.
Well, I did actually when we were at the very beginning of the idea stage.
Oh, wow. So and that's in Sacramento. Do you know what their link is?
Yes. No, but if you go on 1 million cups, you'll find them.
Okay. So that would be 1 million cups. Trying to think of the link. 1millioncups.org.
I think it's .org, I think.
I'm just gonna put it on like on here. Look, 1 million. This is a little bit out of my rhythm because I'm trying to work on the habit of getting people to post stuff in here. I'm gonna focus a little bit on it. 1 million. I want MC. Well, this is Albuquerque's. 1 million cups Albuquerque, which is where I'm at. But
if you just take, it might be Sacramento instead. I don't know.
Well, we'll just put this, and then we can find Sacramento.
Yeah, right.
C E and
right.
All right. We'll put that one out there. Okay. Cool. Well, that is really spiffy. There's we're also as a side project. I'm working with a group that I started on a hackathon at a hackathon, and it's navigating around buildings using QR codes. But that's kind of a fun side project too. But for you, it's probably a bit more at this point. Sounds like you've already got prototypes going.
No, we don't have a prototype yet. We were just about starting to just ready to start to work in the lab when they closed down the campus, and so we can't get in the lab. And I asked my students to figure out if there's any way we can simulate, do some kind of computer simulation, and they go like, I don't know, you gotta do spectrometry and all this stuff. And so I don't know if we're gonna be able to do anything until we get into a lab.
Yeah. Yeah, spectrometry is sort of hard if you don't actually have the. I guess you could possibly mathematically model what it could look like, but that's a lot of knowledge. So please post in anything you'd like in chat. That's appropriate.
Uh-huh.
As we've both found out, there could be some interesting guests.
And you know what? Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, my name is Adam Brechtel, or Adam Sparks Brechtel. I got my middle name from my wife's last name, and shortly about a year ago, I started a business called Sparks Flow because I'd been a teacher, and I decided to make the classroom what I wanted it to be. Now, a teacher in K through 12, and it really did run the gamut. But in order to get myself to get the classroom to what I wanted it to be, I'd have to put a lot more time in. And with my, at the time, two young children, I decided that I'd rather put more time into them and do a different business, a job format. So for a moment, I went off with a friend of mine in a vacuum excavation, which is
in what?
Right. I'll tell you what it is. So vacuum excavation is where you dig holes using a huge truck that's a vacuum. Yeah. And that's so that when you're digging for, like, for instance, when you're digging for construction sites, you don't cut fiber optic cables, which would cost quite a bit more than we do. Yeah.
Okay.
So that business was run by a friend of mine, and I randomly fell into that. And I like manual labor. I like to do stuff with my hands and my body, and so I enjoyed the job in general, but I also really like using my brain. So I knew it was going to be the job for long term.
Got it.
But what was really nice is that he also he's a family-run business, and it started in a garage in a collection of buildings that had been owned by the family for 3 generations. And organization was not the top of their list until shortly before they hired me. And so he'd already decided and tried with like 4 other people that he just hired as employees to try and get the place organized. Even though he had like an idea of what he wanted, he couldn't get anyone that actually could make it happen. So for me, it was easy. So I just did it. And he was amazed at how much I got done in a short amount of time. And my wife, who also joined the force, she likes to drive truck. She said, well, how would you start a business organizing? So I'm doing that. And it's been a blast. Lots of challenges, but as my business actually tries to aim for, I like the challenges, especially when I'm like able to meet them up with my skills. So it's really been great.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is this Friday Flow Forum is, of course, a response to COVID, but it's also something I was hoping to get to eventually. So we go from our introductions to the idea. This was last week's discussion stuff. So I'm going to update this to this week's by typing it in here. So I wrote it down. Yeah. So we're going to call them, there's going to be 3 Ps. Persistence. Because dealing with all of these problems, and one of them is the digital, the Zoom bombing. Persistence, practice, rhythm, which is something I'm really, really striving to do right now, and pause. And that has a lot to do with when my computer was crashing this last 2 weeks. So persistence and spelling. Spelling is one thing to have persistence on. They did a psychology test on me and found out that they can't determine whether I have dyslexia or not with their tests because apparently I'm too smart. But they caught me on dyscalculia, which means I mix up numbers.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway, that's part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the big things. And I'm going to talk about these real quick. What are we at now? 20 minutes after? So my plan was to have this done by at least 10 minutes after.
Right.
But I also like that we had a good discussion time there about intros. So yeah, so with the persistence, and actually I want to flip these two around. I'm going to put this one up first. And I had an arrow in my notes, but I didn't translate it. Okay, so actually practice rhythm. So this is something I'm trying to do with this whole social media stuff. We're dealing with computers and technology in this, and trying to get rhythm down so it will cut down the time that it actually takes me to get all this stuff done, so I won't run into this kind of problem all the time. And I have a great metaphor that I found last week. Is I randomly got into this in my free time. I got onto this YouTube talking about how the designer of Bandicoot, was that his name? Yeah, Bandicoot. It was PlayStation's like theme character when they first came out, and Bandicoot was a 3D game. It came out first as 3D, whereas Mario became 3D eventually. Bandicoot came out straight up 3D, and like the designer of that had to do a lot of hacks to the system to make it work well, because it was totally a new concept and people were figuring out how to make it happen. And one of the things he found out was that actually taking information out was going to make the game more fun. Yeah. So he said that in the 2D, a lot of like you're jumping around, like for Super Mario Brothers and stuff, you jump on mushrooms or over characters or around stuff, or like Donkey Kong and that stuff, and you kind of create a rhythm to get through the levels, and you could just do that. But the problem with 3D is that you now have a fourth level. You know, you have your so you have those two dimensions usually, and your third dimension, and so you could like go around the obstacles, which kind of messes up any rhythm you'd have, and actually kind of decreases some of the enjoyment. So what he did is, even though it's 3D, he took out one of the dimensions. He took out time. He either had something chasing you, which meant that you had to move quickly, so you didn't have time to think about get around stuff, or he'd close off a dimension, which is by making you have to go down a tunnel, and then he'd sometimes even like have something chasing you or have you on some sort of time limit because of that too. So even though it was 3D, he was still trying to remove a dimension because it makes it work better. And I liken that a lot to decision fatigue. So you might have heard about that. Whereas like we get tired of making choices. The Steve Jobs got rid of was so serious about decision fatigue. I mean, you could see it in his work. He doesn't like, unlike Windows stuff, you know, they like to have all kinds of decisions, but he only wore one set of clothes. He took out the choice of what to wear in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, persistence is what you have to do in order to create that rhythm. As you can tell this morning, me trying to like, you know, all right, I'm going to try and get to this rhythm. I'm going to try and get to this. And eventually I might get, you know, pretty good at it. The great thing about this is just diving in and being accepting of non-perfect. But 1 Million Cups organizer, and when I'm talking about organizer in this sense, he was the event organizer. Paul Sauter, he actually keyed me into something one of my first few times I came to visit 1 Million Cups, which is, for those that don't know, is an entrepreneur get-together where businesses present, and then we discuss their challenges. So he said that one of the presenters they'd had was doing studies on how businesses work. And he said that the one thing that tells whether a business works or not isn't about like, you know, exactly passion, or if it was a great idea, or if they had enough money. The one thing that made the difference was persistence. So I'm applying that to this because, boy, it is not easy to try and get this rhythm going,
right?
Especially if your computer continues to crash. So, and then pause. When my computer was crashing, one of the things that helped was for me to actually step away from it, because I was burning so much time into trying to solve the problem that when I came out, I didn't have any energy for my family. And also I was usually running down dead ends and continuing to ram my head over there. So technology is like this weird black box that we just sort of accept. And I'm going to put this in presentation mode right now, just because I remembered it randomly. And so pausing, even though, you know, persisting is part of the deal. So, and I'm going to come back to Zoom bombing in a moment. So this was some possibly helpful stuff that is older. This is older, so sorry for having that on there still. I will skip back.
Excuse me just a second, I want to ask, so what is this university, University of New Mexico Innovation Academy? Is that what that is, the website?
The one that I'm brought up right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about this. It is a cool thing though that I'll tell you about, but it's over. It's an old link.
They're not still doing it? No,
unfortunately.
Okay.
At least as far as I know. I should look more into it.
Could you post that? Because I want to just click on it and see if there's
Definitely.
anything still there.
Yeah.
Oh, but actually maybe you can't. Can you copy and paste into chat?
Yeah.
Oh, you just can't copy out of chat, I guess.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's the thing. But you can click on the links, which is why I encourage the HTTPS. So you can click right on that. Thanks for asking. I'm going to take that off for the future, but if you find something on there that's still going on, I'm all about propping it up. There is, on that note, Activate New Mexico. Activate New Mexico. And I'll put that on here, because this is also part of my encouraging people to put links on. Activate New Mexico. They are putting on some really neat stay connected sessions. And let me see if I can find out what it is. Accelerator, about, resources, events. And they actually come on right after me at 11 o'clock for these events usually. And, but you need to sign up for them ahead of time. So these are the ones that they've got coming up today. Stay engaged. Mexico startups can build the solutions we need. So I'm gonna post this page on here. But yeah, that's there. I've been touting them.
And by the way, there is something still at that University of New Mexico site.
Oh.
I haven't looked at what it is, but there's something there. It's called Pitch In, New Mexico's Social Enterprise Challenge, it says. Yeah.
So the idea that they did have, and maybe
so I'm sorry. I just wanted to check something so I understand better about Zoom chat.
I appreciate it.
You posted the Eventbrite thing, and just to try, I copied it and then I pasted it out on a browser, and you can copy and paste. Was that what you're saying?
Does it now?
Yes.
That might have been with the update.
Oh, yeah. They just did that update, yeah.
Thank you for letting me know. Now I know that. That's great. Yeah, the back and forth discussion is great for me. So well, that's good to know. Okay, well, that solves some of that. Because it was so annoying. It was like, there's all this information right there, and I have to retype it all and try and listen.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So, all right. So, okay, cool. Well, I'll have to look into that. So, what a pitch in? Have you heard of those before?
I have no.
So, they're common around here. I don't know. They must be common other places. But we have a thing called Balloon Fiesta. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So here's an example. What we do is you'd get in a balloon with somebody, and they'd go up.
You mean literally in a balloon?
Right. And then they would in the basket. And then you have until the balloon lands to sell them on your idea. You're pitching. Like, that's one version of it. That
is great. Oh my God, that's so creative.
Yeah. So like there are different versions of that, but the idea is you're trying to sell people on your idea, and you're given a chance to do this pitch. It's like a competition, not exactly Shark Tank, but sort of like that too. But yeah, So that's kind of what this is. And so this last one, that one was really neat because Albuquerque was giving, and it was so great. And I wanted to like think of something for it, but because of my newborn, I just didn't have much bandwidth.
Yeah, right. I understand.
So, but their thing was like, you pitch for an idea that you think is going to help with COVID, and we'll give you $10,000 if you win. Just,
Right.
yeah,
Yes. So interesting. You know what? Because um, I teach this class. It's called Technology Management, and it's a lot about innovation and decision making.
yeah,
And as I was just finishing everything for this quarter's class, I said, their projects have to be about COVID. I mean, that's the world we live in right now. That if they want to be relevant, that's what they have to work on. So that's what I told them they had to do. And I'm very eager to see what they come up with.
yeah, yeah. It's the the and I'll talk about another one, which is not the links I just gave. I just gave the links that were right here from Microsoft alternatives that are available right now, or not Zoom alternatives.
Right.
But a hackathon is something. Have you heard of those?
Yes, we have those in Sacramento.
Okay, and that's where I got my thing. It was actually about a hospital, to find your way around in the hospital.
That's great because, you know, I've been in some buildings where, oh my God, you just can't.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
you can't figure out where you are.
the reason I didn't think we were gonna win, I was like, because there was some cool stuff going on there. There was somebody who had like this box that they were creating, that they already had the technology, and it was working in labs. They were doing it, but they were going to take that lab process and put it in this box, basically, to take your version of a disease that they already can tell, like these particular antigens or whatever, what's on your disease. They can link up and create a cure specifically for your particular problem. And I think it was, I'm not too sure if it was a particular type of cancer that they could differentiate within the cancer, or if it was a particular type of flu they could differentiate within that flu. I mean, it wasn't a panacea, but it was this, like, to me, it was like magic, right? You know, I kind of understood the concept, but they were going to take all that they do in a lab, and then basically in an hour, you could put it in this side, and what you need would come out this side, kind of thing. And it was like, what? I mean, I thought they were going to win, but what happened is, I found out later, is the reason that ours won was for one, $10,000 would make a difference. With theirs, $10,000 is like pennies. So they had a great idea, and I hope they continue to take it somewhere. But they want to shoot for bigger money, for grants or something else. And the other reason is because ours is scalable. Right, like you said, there are all kinds of buildings that there could be mess ups in, and you can find get yourself lost. So once we get the system going, we can market it all over. But yeah, going back to so alternatives to Zoom. These are some I found the other day. I think Zoom is really improving. Obviously, they had a lot of downfalls, but I want to open people to other possibilities. Microsoft is giving for a year right now, if anyone wants to try that out. And then Jitsi is an open source program, so it's free whenever. And Jitsi Meet is something I would hope to test one day, but I haven't. I just heard from, I listened to a podcast called Twit, and they're all about technology and stuff, and they give this high reviews. My contact information, and that's that. Oh, I forgot. I was going to try to do something for this real quick. So just to build, actually, I might do that depending on how long you want to talk. I could try and do it afterwards or something. But you've already asked a couple times about the Zoom bombing that happened. So
yes, I'm very interested in that.
So let me see if I can.
I've been taking lots of precautions because I've heard of, you know, like college classes where somebody shows up with no clothes on and stuff like that. You know, somebody who presumably is not in the class.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Just something.
you know, as the teacher, I'm responsible for making sure there's no inappropriate behavior in the classroom. So, you know, I've been working very hard to, you know, like you got to have a password and, you know, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what my story is, and then I'll talk a little about what I've heard Zoom doing, which you may have heard already. but to improve on their system. But so what? What Eric Renz Whitmore is another 1 Million Cups event organizer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's actually kind of one of the founding members of our area for 1 Million
Mm-hmm.
Cups. And he really encouraged me to do this broadcast. He may or may not show up at any time here, but you know, he came on. He's like, "Oh, could I tweet it?" And I was thinking, "Oh yeah, sure," because for me, I was like, I have like 4 at the most visitors, so it's not going to be that big a thing. You know, who's going to come? Well, that's if people are actually looking for something for content. Apparently, if they're just looking for something to harass, they'll come anywhere.
Something to what?
To harass?
Oh, harass. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for helping me.
Yeah.
Another
My
thing.
theory is they use a random number unless there's something publicly posted. I think they might just use a random number generator and just pop into any meeting that shows up without a password. I'm just
Maybe.
guessing that.
Yeah, that's possible.
But also if there's something publicly posted, then they could do it that way too.
It was definitely
They could
that
just troll
case.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, with me, it was definitely that case. And I've got this where you have an extra added control that you actually know who's supposed to be there.
Well,
Hopefully.
it depends on what it is, but the class is yes. But the thing is, because we don't, one of my big class at UC Davis has 165 students, so we don't want to use a waiting room because we'll spend all our time getting everybody into the class, right?
Yeah.
And the trouble is that sometimes people don't use their names as their Zoom names, and so we don't know if that's one of the students or not. So we told people you have to put your name there so we know you're actually a student in the class.
Yeah.
So we took us a couple of weeks to get people to everybody to do that, right?
Yeah.
But tell me, so what happened in yours?
Yes. So I said, sure, tweet it. And another thing about this to think about is that this is before, like, I created this series of meetings before Zoom had like installed like mandatory defaults that were to protect you, because they were like Facebook originally, where it's like just open, do anything you want, you know. It's like so open was the default, whereas now like safety is the default.
Got it.
When you start a new meeting. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't spent much time on all that, but sure enough, all these like someone showed up right after that. I was like, oh great, well, oh yeah, you just have to click on the down here so you unmute yourself. Well, apparently she didn't care. She didn't want to do the unmute. And then like all these other ones showed up with no faces, you know, just were names, and I didn't read what the names were. And eventually some names, when I was starting to pay attention, were obviously trying to be harassing names, but whatever.
Got it.
I actually felt kind of privileged that I finally been involved in a Zoom bomb situation. And in my opinion, it was sort of low damage to get that experience. And again, I'm going to post it eventually here.
Right.
But because my computer was crashing at the time before that event, I wasn't downloading it onto my computer like I had been before. So the reason I haven't uploaded yet is because I have another extra set of steps. It's out of my rhythm that I'm trying to create. So anyway, so they start showing up, and Eric is the only other person on screen with me that I actually know. And he's like, oh, if you share hosting with me, I'll help you remove them.
Right.
Which we'd practiced for 1 Million Cups a couple days before.
Right.
So I wasted some time trying to make him a host as well, or a co-host. But apparently with my account, I can switch him to being the host. Whereas when the 1 Million Cups account, I guess is a
I guess there's a difference between a free account and a paid account, yeah.
Well, mine's a paid account too, but it's not that level of paid account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for instance, like if I close off my screen here, because I have a paid account, you can see something. I think. That's my understanding.
Oh, okay.
So that's one example of because I paid, I can put my face on here when my face isn't here. Something like that. Anyway, but then there's other levels in it, and so this is something we found out right then is that the one we practiced on was the 1 Million Cups account, as opposed to this one. So I couldn't share hosting powers with him.
Got it.
And once we figured that out, then I stopped trying to share with him. And I just started removing the people, you know?
Got it.
and they started coming in about as fast as I was removing them. And
Like
so
they have that's kind of some kind of network. They're going to say, hey, we got into this one. Come on, let's go.
yeah, just like basically that was what I was
Oh
thinking. Is
my
like,
God. Oh
how
my
many of these
God.
people know each other, you know, and how much of it is just like, you know, you can go onto sites and find a particular algorithm that you can use to get that stuff. So maybe they all have this particular software. So yeah, there was only 2 people that showed their face, and right when I went in, so I was damming the stream, and then a second wave came in,
God.
and then at that point I was like, yeah, I think it's just wise to end the meeting, contact Eric, and then what I did is I started a new meeting, sent that out by email only.
Right.
The people that I knew had attended before, so if
Got
they
it.
wanted to show up, they could come in.
Got it.
Yeah, so I think someone showed up towards the end of that second meeting. But right before that, there was some kid, like, you know, he's like down here, you know,
Uh-huh.
and talking, and his room is a mess. And he's like, do you like my mess? But he's got like this, you know, ski mask stuff on. And all
Oh
this, you can't
yeah,
see
yeah.
me.
I get it. Yeah.
Anyway, it was more intriguing than anything. I'm like,
Right.
what are you doing? Like, what's your angle?
Oh yeah.
But so that made me pause for a moment. But then there was another person that started. But so it appears that most of them aren't about you seeing anything aside from your nudist there. And fortunately, I didn't run into any of that. But and then another thing is they can take the screen. So let me try and do this.
Oh, they can share their screen.
That also, but
Yeah, if you don't block them, yeah.
there's some way that you can actually draw
Oh
over.
yes.
And I
Right.
don't know how to do that
How to
myself.
do, but you don't.
But that was
Wait,
what.
something other than what you just did?
Yeah. So there's a way that like I had my screen still shared.
Oh, they could draw over you?
Right. They could share. They could draw over the screen share I had. So
Jeez.
I don't know how they did that, but it's apparently a thing you can do. And I'm actually glancing right now. But yeah. And so what they did is they started to write delightful words on there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, I
Okay,
haven't
good to
heard
know.
about this. It's kind of like one of those things, like, you know, you don't really want to, you know, if you're out in the safari, you want to see the lions. You don't really want to be attacked by them. But, you know, you kind of have more of a story if you are.
No question. Right. Just seeing, you're right, seeing lions.
That's
It's
right.
not nearly as interesting as getting attacked by them if you live to tell the tale.
That's right.
Terrific. Thank you for sharing that. That's
You,
definitely a word to the wise. I am going to be like, there's this thing about authenticating users, and I haven't tried that button yet because I don't know how to use it, but I want to check
right.
that out because I
Oh,
want to just do as many, I want to make it as safe as secure as possible, but at
right.
the same time not inconvenience myself or the other participants much.
Right. So if you have like if your school has like a bigger robust program, you can go to participants and you
Mhm.
can name someone. So right here, you're John Goldberg. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make you the host right here. So now you're the host. It'll tell you.
Oh, okay.
All right. And so now you have all the
Says
abilities.
Says Allison Betts has entered the waiting room for this meeting.
Oh, click on that. No, let her in. I didn't
Let her
time it.
in. Okay.
Yeah. That's funny. Timing. She must have just done that. I wonder how long ago she
I
did that.
guess.
Hi, Allison.
Good morning, Adam.
Ah, hi,
That's
Allison.
funny. You just logged on?
Yeah,
That
I
I
saw the
just switched.
other link on my calendar that was
Yeah.
grayed out, and I went to the one I normally go to, and I was like, oh, and I shot you the email before I checked the other one, so I found you.
I'm glad you did. That's been my story, links recently. So this is John Goldberg.
Hi.
He's a professor over a professor and possibly an inventor over in Sacramento.
Why only possibly an inventor?
Because I didn't quite clarify
Because
whether it
we
was a
haven't
student.
invented anything yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So he's working on some really cool sunscreen that's eco-friendly and probably doesn't give you cancer with the copper inside of it or something.
That would be nice.
That's what we're doing, yeah. But the thing is, just as we developed our research plan, that's when everything closed down. We can't get in the lab, so we can't do anything.
Oh boy.
For now.
Well, at least you're in California, so you'll have access to sunshine a lot to see if it works.
There you go. There you go.
And so
I'm from Boston. It's overcast a lot there.
Right, yeah.
I met Allison at 1 Million Cups Albuquerque also, the non-virtual version.
Oh, right. I remember those, yeah.
She is helping people take off the concerns on their plate with life insurance. So, and she has it. So the other day when I was like because I was trying to get her to present at 1 Million Cups, and then I found out that I've got it wrong, and she knew this already. That it's really more for entrepreneurs that are starting their own type of business as opposed to like using a business that already has a model, which is I guess something or other. So after I found that out, I was like, oh, I guess you actually won't be able to present. And she's like, yeah, I kind of expected so. And then she starts to give me all the information about her abilities. Like, I can give you, you can give me the list. What were the things you started listening?
I don't know. I was like, I don't even recall at this point, but it was
she started pardon the phrase, so like vomiting all of her great benefits that she could give at that moment. And I'm like, whoa, I've been talking to you for months. I'm only hearing about this now. She's like, because it sounds like maybe I won't talk to you again because I wasn't, harassing her to present at 1 Million Cups. And I'm like, no, just calm down, keep the connection. We'll continue to talk.
So Allison, let me understand. What do you do?
I work for New York Life Insurance.
Oh yeah,
I help people kind of with their life cycle goals and making sure that they're hitting their financial goals, that they're going to, whether it's in the area of protection or if they're in the stage of accumulation or if they're in the stage of distribution. So kind of that's a snapshot, and I'm hesitant to vomit all over you.
No, but let me just tell you, I love life insurance.
Yeah.
Great.
Life insurance is a wonderful thing for me. So
Yeah.
the thing is that was about 15 years ago, I bought a house with a mortgage, and I had I had enough to put down the down payment so that I can't remember anyway, but I was required to buy mortgage insurance.
Okay.
But I was talking to my cousin who's in the insurance business, and he said, don't buy mortgage insurance, buy term life. It's much less expensive, and it doesn't just cover your mortgage. It covers, other stuff too, right? Now, it won't cover your mortgage if you're still alive, but I was assuming that if I'm still alive, I can still work. I mean, there's some chance I wouldn't be, but anyway. Yeah. So, so I did that, and it was 20 years, and I pay $800 a year for $250,000, and I've got 2 kids. Who are now, I did this, our first child was born, excuse me, right when we bought the house. And so, I said, well, this is good for the kids too. So it's good until I'm about 75.
Great.
And I don't know how much I'm going to be working after I'm 75. And so I figure, hey, for $800 a year, this is a good investment for me.
Right. To cover your mortgage. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cover the mortgage, and then of course any other,
unforeseen. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
and apparently I like there's certain cutoffs for how much you have to pay.
Right.
And apparently I was like just past one of the cutoffs that we backdated it.
Yeah.
So I think I saved like hundreds of dollars a year because we did that.
Nice.
But oh my God, the medical test, geez, like, oh my God, it was like
all the underwriting. They want to make sure that you're like not gonna like pop off tomorrow.
Right.
Like, ooh.
You know, and recently I've been saying, well, if COVID-19 gets me, I've got this part covered. The money part's covered.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I'm going to find out something here too. First of all, thank you for selling her product for her. Second of all, Allison, can you see the chat from previously? So can you see all of our chat?
Hold on, let me pull up the chat. Nope, I cannot.
Okay.
I just have 0. So
right.
whatever you said was private.
Well, it was, I guess, it was previous to you. So
Yeah.
would you post your contact information on the chat?
Sure, I will.
And then, John, would you be willing to repost your stuff for her?
yeah, actually, let me just see if I can do this. Hold on a second.
Copy and paste?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. Did I copy and paste everything?
Whatever
I tried
you
to copy
want.
and paste. Yeah, I copied and pasted the entire chat. Are you seeing it?
Not yet. Nope.
Oh, so you just did everything.
Oh, maybe I didn't hit enter yet.
Oh, there it is. It just, woohoo, look at all that.
Wow.
All right.
Thanks.
Cool.
So apparently then there's also, you can push file here, and at least I can see it on mine. Save chat, file, or you can choose where you're going to file it. So those are options you have. I don't know if you can see those right now because you're the host at the moment.
What do you want to, what are you seeing?
Underneath chat,
Yeah.
there are these 2 buttons.
Oh,
so next
file. Yeah.
File, you can choose where you want to save the chat, and you can save chat with the dot thing.
Oh, and you can also change, that's where you change who can chat with who.
Oh, if you're the host, which you are right now.
Only the host, not the co-host.
I don't have that option. I'm not a co-host.
Well, let me make you the co-host and just see what pops up, because this is something I'm very curious about.
Good. Do you have that option?
Yeah, yeah. I go to. I'll see. Yeah, I think so. I can make you.
Because this is. Oh, by the way.
No. I can only make you the host.
That's because of my level of.
Got it.
Level of what I purchased.
Yep. Got it. I got it.
That was the problem that we ran into when Eric was like, "Just make me a co-host. I'll help you get rid of this Zoom bomb nonsense."
Right.
And you found the thing I found out right then. So.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and make you the host again.
Well, and yeah, go ahead. The other thing is I can actually, because it's my account, at any time I could have taken the host back.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I have the option on mine. If I go to participants, I can say retrieve. So.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I don't have it right now, but
good to know.
So if I make Allison the host,
yes,
Allison, you're going to be the host now. I got to push change host. There's like extra buttons everywhere. So you're the host now.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So what I can do is I can just there's somewhere. Well, now with the updated version, maybe it's changed.
Maybe it is.
Okay, here it is. It's down at the bottom. Where if you look at your participants, you have these things on the bottom. One of my buttons is reclaim host.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm the host again.
Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, so if you ever want to share being the host and it's your account, you know that you have the power to bring it back. So.
Okay, very good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. I tried saving and I used the chat save 3 buttons and that saved it somewhere, not sure. I tried to save it onto my desktop and it wouldn't allow
you do
that. No, not even when I was host. I tried it again while I was briefly host.
Until maybe because I took it away or something.
Oh. No, it wouldn't let me do it while you were explaining that you were about to take it away.
Okay. Save chat. Participants can. So did it save it to your downloads or something?
I'm not certain.
Or did it save it? You know where it probably saved it? Is
where?
In your Zoom program. When you open up Zoom on your desktop or maybe online. I think online.
Okay.
There's on the sidebar, there's like schedule a meeting and things like that. And then like recordings.
Gotcha.
So if you go in the recording section, that's where my stuff was at.
Okay.
Was when because I was telling John about this last time. I recorded everything online as opposed to down on my desktop because my computer had kept kind of crashing.
Got it.
And so I just went there recently to find where that stuff was, even though I didn't access it yet. But I found it had the video, it had the audio, and it had, well, I'm assuming it would have the chat, but there was no chat with those, fortunately.
No, I think the chat is automatically always downloaded into the Zoom folder in your documents on your computer.
Oh yeah, that's another option.
Okay.
I think it's automatic.
Yeah.
And then if you record, but the thing is, if you record, it goes away in 60. If you record it on the Zoom cloud and just leave it there, it actually you can download the recording onto your computer. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, because if it's on their cloud, it goes away in 2 months.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 60 days.
Well, I better get that out there.
Yeah.
And it may depend on the account you have, because I think there was also an account in there was basically you could save as much as you want.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. That's what I seem to remember.
Okay.
Well, I've got about 4 more minutes left before I should probably wrap this guy up.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys have anything you want to talk about?
No.
All right, Allison, thank you for joining us. How was your week?
It was good. We were, trying to drive our activity and stay focused because, when you're home, it's so easy to, look at stuff on the computer. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's easy to do that when you're at a job, but
right.
It's like, oh, I should go throw in a load of laundry.
Right.
Oh.
And so good. And that was, it's kind of funny because, so the beginning of the talk, I had my chit chat, and one of the points I had was creating a rhythm.
Oh yeah.
With technology, because and that what's happened and I was telling John, so when they designed when the designer made Bandicoot, which is a PlayStation game, which is one of the first 3D games that came out, he found out that one of the things that made the game more enjoyable was creating a rhythm.
Okay.
So but what he did is he took out, even though he added a third dimension, he took out one of the other dimensions, like time.
Okay.
So like that you had to do things at a certain time. So you had things timed. So that might be something to help you, as if you have a certain schedule, you have certain times that you're blocking out that you can do those other stuff. But if it's not within that rhythm, just don't do it.
Yeah, I'll have to get on that, finding what that is.
Right. Well, if you watch this program, you'll see that I am still working on my rhythms, but it's the trying that makes a big difference.
Excellent.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I also hear in the background someone else might be wanting me. So
yes, it sounds like it. Have a good day.
And I also have to work on my closing, which is because part of the rhythm is how I close. But keep the sparks flowing is what I think I'm going to go with. So,
Terrific.
All right, thanks, Adam. Take care.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.